Hi everyone, welcome back to Talk English Freely. Today we're talking about a topic that's both common and controversial. It's something millions of people do, but many people have mixed feelings about it.
Hey there, thanks for joining us. Yeah, this is definitely an interesting topic that affects people all over the world. We're gonna talk about plastic surgery and cosmetic procedures.
I'm Jessica.
And I'm Brian.
Today we're talking about plastic surgery. This is how real people discuss beauty standards, body image, and personal choices.
This is natural everyday English about a sensitive but important topic. Just two people sharing honest opinions and perspectives.
So if you're new here, welcome. We have real conversations about topics that matter in modern life.
And if you like these conversations, please hit subscribe. It really helps us keep making these videos for you.
Yes, and leave a like if you find today's conversation interesting.
Thanks for your support.
Ready to talk about plastic surgery?
Let's dive in.
Here we go. So Brian, let me start with a direct question. What's your opinion on plastic surgery?
That's a complicated question with no simple answer. I think plastic surgery can be positive in some cases and problematic in others. For people who have medical needs or serious deformities, plastic surgery can be life-changing, but when it's driven by insecurity or unrealistic beauty standards, that concerns me. So my opinion depends on the situation and the motivation behind it.
That's a thoughtful and balanced perspective. I think I feel similarly to you about it being situational. I'm not against plastic surgery entirely, but I worry about the reasons people get it. If someone genuinely wants to change something for themselves, that's their choice. But if they feel pressured by society or social media, that's sad.
The pressure from social media is definitely real. Everyone is constantly seeing filtered and edited photos. It creates unrealistic expectations about how people should look. Young people especially are vulnerable to that pressure. They see perfect faces online and feel inadequate about their own appearance.
Exactly, and that's what worries me most. Teenagers and young adults getting plastic surgery because of Instagram or TikTok. Their brains aren't even fully developed yet, but they're making permanent changes to their bodies. They might regret those decisions when they're older and their preferences change.
That's a really good point about age and maturity. Many countries have age restrictions on cosmetic surgery for that reason. You have to be 18 or older for most procedures. But even 18 seems young to make such permanent decisions. The brain doesn't finish developing until around age 25.
Right, so even legal adults might not have the maturity to make those choices wisely. Now, let me ask, have you ever considered getting plastic surgery yourself?
Honestly, no. I've never seriously considered it. I'm generally comfortable with how I look. Sure, there are things I'd change if I could, but not enough to go through surgery. What about you?
I've thought about it, I'll admit. Not seriously planning it, but I've wondered about getting a nose job. I've never liked my nose, and I sometimes imagine how I'd look with a different one, but I've never taken any actual steps toward getting surgery. The cost, the risk, the recovery time all seem overwhelming.
Have you talked to anyone about it or just thought about it privately?
Just thought about it privately mostly. I mentioned it to a close friend once and she told me I was crazy. She said my nose is fine and I shouldn't change anything. That made me feel better, but the insecurity still pops up sometimes, especially when I see photos of myself from certain angles.
That's really honest of you to share. I think a lot of people have those insecurities, but don't talk about them. The question is whether surgery would actually solve the underlying insecurity, or if you just find something new to be insecure about.
That's such an important point. I've read that some people who get plastic surgery aren't satisfied afterward. They thought fixing one thing would make them happy, but it didn't. Then they want to fix something else, and it becomes a cycle. That's what scares me about plastic surgery, the potential for it to become addictive.
Yeah, Plastic surgery addiction is a real phenomenon. Some people get multiple procedures and are never satisfied. They keep chasing an ideal that doesn't exist. It's really sad when that happens. There are documented cases of people who've had dozens of surgeries, and they still feel unhappy with their appearance.
It is so sad. I've seen those extreme cases on TV shows and documentaries. People who don't even look human anymore because they've had so much work done. And they still want more surgery even though they look worse than before. It's clearly a psychological issue at that point, not a physical one.
Exactly. Body dysmorphia is often the underlying problem. It's a mental disorder where you perceive flaws that others don't see. Surgery can't fix that because the problem is in your perception, not your actual appearance.
Right, the root cause is psychological. Now let me ask about the different types of plastic surgery. What procedures are most common?
From what I understand, the most common procedures are nose jobs, breast augmentation, liposuction, and facelifts. Eyelid surgery is also very popular, especially in Asian countries, and recently, non-surgical procedures like Botox and fillers have become extremely common. Those are less invasive than surgery, but still change your appearance.
Right, Botox and fillers are everywhere now. It seems like half of celebrities have had some kind of cosmetic work done. Their faces look smooth and wrinkle-free even as they age. Sometimes it looks good, but other times it looks unnatural and overdone.
That's the risk with cosmetic procedures. When done subtly, you might not even notice, but when overdone, it's obvious and often looks bad. Some celebrities end up looking plastic or frozen. Their faces can't move naturally because of all the Botox.
Exactly, and that's not attractive at all. The goal should be to look like a better version of yourself, not like a different person. But some people take it too far and end up looking unrecognizable. There are those before and after photos where you can't even tell it's the same person.
Yeah, I've seen those photos. Sometimes it's shocking how different someone looks, and you wonder if they're actually happier after all that surgery.
Good question. Now, let me ask about cost, because plastic surgery is expensive. How much does it typically cost?
It varies a lot depending on the procedure and location. A nose job in the United States might cost anywhere from $5,000 to $15,000. Breast augmentation is similar, maybe $5,000 to $10,000. Facelifts can be even more expensive, sometimes $20,000 or more. And those prices don't include potential complications that might need additional surgery.
Those are huge amounts of money. Most people can't afford that kind of expense easily. Some people go into debt or save for years to afford plastic surgery. That seems like a lot of sacrifice for something that's not medically necessary.
I agree. Spending thousands of dollars on appearance when that money could be used for other things. Education, retirement savings, experiences, helping others. But I guess if it genuinely makes someone happier, maybe it's worth it to them. Everyone has different priorities.
That's true. People spend money on different things they value. Some people spend thousands on cars or vacations. If plastic surgery makes someone happy and confident, maybe it's worth it. But I still worry about people making that choice for the wrong reasons.
The motivation is definitely key. Are you doing it for yourself or for others? Are you trying to fix a specific thing or chase an impossible ideal? Those questions matter.
Absolutely. Now, let me ask about risks and complications. Plastic surgery is still surgery, which means there are risks, right?
Yes, definitely. Any surgery carries risks, like infection, bleeding, or bad reactions to anesthesia. With plastic surgery specifically, there's also the risk of unsatisfactory results. You might not like how it turns out, or there could be scarring, asymmetry, or nerve damage. In rare cases, People have died from complications during cosmetic procedures.
That's scary. People actually die from cosmetic surgery?
It's rare, but it happens, especially with procedures like Brazilian butt lifts, which have a higher risk, or when people go to unqualified doctors in other countries to save money. Medical tourism for plastic surgery can be dangerous. Some people travel to countries where it's cheaper, but the standards aren't as high.
I've heard about that, people going to other countries for cheaper surgery. It sounds risky to have a major procedure done somewhere unfamiliar. What if something goes wrong and you're in a foreign country? Or what if you need follow-up care after you return home?
Those are all valid concerns. Medical tourism can work out fine for some people, but it can also lead to serious problems. It's important to thoroughly research any surgeon before trusting them with your body. Check their credentials, experience, patient reviews, everything.
Good advice. Now, let me ask about cultural differences in plastic surgery. I've heard that plastic surgery is especially common in some countries like South Korea.
Yes, South Korea has one of the highest rates of plastic surgery in the world. It's extremely common there. Almost normalized. Many young people get plastic surgery as graduation gifts. Double eyelid surgery is particularly popular to make eyes look larger. The beauty standards there are very specific and strict.
That's fascinating and also concerning. If plastic surgery is that normalized, young people probably feel a lot of pressure to get it. Even if they don't really want it, they might feel like they have to in order to fit in.
That's a real issue. When something becomes normalized in a culture, it creates pressure to conform. If all your friends are getting surgery, you might feel left out if you don't. That's not a healthy basis for making such a big decision.
Definitely not. Now let me ask about beauty standards more broadly. How do you think plastic surgery relates to beauty standards in society?
Plastic surgery both reflects and reinforces beauty standards. People get surgery to conform to what society considers attractive. But then when many people have surgery, it raises the bar even higher. It creates a cycle where natural appearance isn't considered good enough anymore. Everyone is trying to achieve the same idealized look.
That's such a perceptive observation. Plastic surgery creates a feedback loop that makes beauty standards even more extreme. When everyone has perfect noses and smooth skin, being natural seems flawed. It's like an arms race where everyone has to keep up or fall behind.
Exactly. And it affects people's self-esteem. Even if they don't get surgery, they compare themselves to these enhanced appearances and feel inadequate even though what they're comparing to isn't natural either.
That's so true and so sad. People are comparing themselves to an artificial standard that's not even real. The photos are filtered, the bodies are surgically enhanced, but people judge themselves against that. No wonder so many people struggle with body image issues.
Social media has made it so much worse. Everyone can compare themselves to everyone else constantly, and you're not just comparing to people you know. You're comparing to models and influencers with professional makeup, lighting, and editing. It's an impossible standard.
It really is impossible. Now, let me ask something different. If someone gets plastic surgery, do you think they should tell people about it or keep it private?
That's an interesting ethical question. I think it's a personal choice whether to disclose it or not. Some people are very open about their procedures, and that's fine. Others prefer to keep it private, and that's their right too. Your medical decisions are your own business.
I agree it's a personal choice. But don't you think there's something dishonest about getting surgery and pretending it's natural? Especially for influencers and celebrities who set beauty standards. When they get surgery but claim to be natural, it makes regular people feel inadequate.
That's a really good point. When public figures lie about plastic surgery, it does create false expectations. People try to achieve that look naturally when it's not actually possible. That's definitely harmful and dishonest. So maybe public figures have more responsibility to be honest than private individuals.
Right. There's a difference between a regular person's privacy and a celebrity's influence. If you're just a normal person, you don't owe anyone an explanation. But if you're an influencer selling beauty products or fitness programs, that's different. You're misleading people about how you achieved your appearance.
Exactly. That crosses a line from privacy into deception, especially if you're profiting from people trying to look like you when you know they can't achieve it without surgery.
And some influencers do exactly that. They get breast implants or a nose job or liposuction. Then they sell workout programs or beauty products claiming that's how they look. It's completely dishonest and preys on people's insecurities.
That's really unethical, but unfortunately it happens all the time. The fitness and beauty industries have a lot of that deception.
It makes me so angry because vulnerable people believe those lies. They buy the products or programs thinking they'll get those results. Then they feel like failures when it doesn't work. When the truth is, surgery was the real reason, not the product being sold.
Yeah, that kind of deception should be illegal, in my opinion. It's false advertising, essentially.
I completely agree. There should be laws requiring disclosure if you've had procedures done, at least for people who are selling products or services based on their appearance. Regular people can keep their privacy, but influencers should have to be honest.
That seems like a reasonable compromise.
Now let me ask about alternatives to plastic surgery. Are there less invasive ways to address appearance concerns?
There are definitely alternatives worth considering. Therapy can help address the underlying insecurity rather than just changing appearance. Makeup and styling can enhance features without surgery. Exercise and healthy eating can improve your body naturally, and learning to accept and appreciate your natural appearance is free.
Those are all great alternatives that address the root issue, because often the problem isn't actually your appearance, it's your mindset. If you learn to love yourself as you are, you don't need to change anything. But that's easier said than done in a society obsessed with appearance.
True. Self-acceptance is really difficult when you're constantly bombarded with beauty messages, but it's worth working toward, because surgery might change your appearance, but it won't necessarily change how you feel about yourself.
That's the key insight right there. External changes don't automatically create internal happiness. You can get a nose job and still be insecure. The real work is internal, learning to accept and value yourself.
Exactly right.
Now let me ask about the positive side of plastic surgery. Are there cases where you think plastic surgery is clearly beneficial?
Absolutely. Reconstructive surgery after accidents, burns, or cancer is incredibly valuable. It helps people regain function and appearance after trauma. Also, surgery to correct birth defects or deformities can be life-changing. Those cases are different from purely cosmetic procedures. They're about restoring normal when chasing an ideal.
Right, I hadn't thought about reconstructive surgery. That's obviously different from getting surgery just to look prettier. Someone who was disfigured in an accident deserves to have surgery to look normal again. That's not vanity. That's restoration.
Exactly. And even some cosmetic procedures can significantly improve quality of life. If someone has been deeply insecure about something their whole life, and surgery genuinely helps them feel confident and happy, then maybe it was worth it for them. I'm not going to judge someone else's choice.
That's a compassionate perspective. We shouldn't judge people for their personal choices about their own bodies. At the same time, we can wish that society didn't create so much pressure in the first place. Ideally, people would feel beautiful without needing surgery.
That would be ideal. but we don't live in that world yet, so in the meantime, people make the choices that work for them.
True. Okay, final question before we wrap up. What advice would you give to someone considering plastic surgery?
First, really examine your motivations. Are you doing this for yourself or because of external pressure? Will this genuinely make you happier, or are you chasing an impossible ideal? Second, do extensive research on the surgeon and procedure. Look at credentials, reviews, before and after photos. Third, consider alternatives like therapy, style changes, or self-acceptance work.
What else would you add?
Fourth, make sure you can afford it without going into debt. Don't sacrifice your financial stability for appearance. Fifth, wait before making the decision. Don't rush into surgery impulsively. Give yourself time to really think it through. And finally, have realistic expectations about the results and recovery.
Those are all excellent practical tips. Anything else you'd want someone to know?
One more thing, remember that surgery is permanent or semi-permanent. Trends change, your preferences change, but surgery results last. Make sure you're ready for that level of commitment, and be prepared for the possibility that you might not be satisfied with the results.
Thank you, Brian. That's all really valuable advice. I think anyone considering plastic surgery should think carefully about all those points. This has been a really thoughtful conversation.
I agree. Plastic surgery is a complex topic with no easy answers. Everyone has to make their own decision, but it's important to make that decision thoughtfully and for the right reasons.
Absolutely.
Okay, I think we've covered plastic surgery pretty thoroughly.
Yeah, we talked about so much. The pros and cons, cultural aspects, costs, risks, motivations, disclosure, everything.
Hopefully this conversation helps people think more deeply about this topic.
I think it will. Well, everyone, that's all for today. Thank you so much for listening to us talk about plastic surgery. This is a sensitive topic, and we appreciate you being here for this conversation.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. We hope this gave you some things to think about regarding beauty, body image, and personal choices. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments.
If you enjoyed this conversation, please give us a like and subscribe. Your support helps us keep making these videos about important topics.
Every like and subscription means a lot.
We'll be back soon with another interesting topic.
Make sure you're subscribed.
All right, everyone, remember to love yourself as you are.
Your worth isn't determined by your appearance.
Be kind to yourself and others.
Stay confident and authentic.
See you next time.
Take care.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.